What's going on, Boulder?
Talk about that when we talk about that. I talk about that with you.
We're chopping up with our guy Dukes the Scoop. Appreciate you pulling up, man. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here and check out his channel in the description. Let's talk about Prime, man. You talked about earlier. He hit you up, told you don't just take any job. Trust in yourself, trust in don't be afraid, trust in what you do. More so paraphrasing. But Dukes, I just started noticing a massive trend that's happening in college football. And Coach Prime, it feels like he didn't change the game. Like he has changed it. When he started and he took the job at Jackson State, everybody was like, oh, he ain't got no real experience. He needs to be a coordinator first, blah, 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 whoop de whoop. He took that job. And the next thing you know, you're starting to see success there. But right behind him, you saw Eddie George. He took the job at Tennessee State. No head coaching experience. He walks in there. He's still their coach and doing a good job. Ed Reed gave it a try. Unfortunately, Ed Reed didn't understand the dynamics of how HBCU works, but it's okay. Happens to the best of us. But this past year, bro, you got Michael Vick getting the job, Norfolk State. You just got Deshaun Jackson that just got the job yesterday, right, at Delaware State. Bananas that we're starting to see more former players get these head coaching jobs. Trent Dilfer getting a job at UAB. I don't care what nobody say. That's kind of a little bit of a Prime there because Prime going to Colorado changed it, man. How do you feel like Deion Sanders and the way that he does things has truly influenced the game and is probably changing the way college football is going?
I mean, name recognition matters. What they've seen that so for the college coaches who have to do the traditional route or go the traditional route of recruiting, Coach Prime hasn't had to do that. And name recognition matters. With a guy like Michael Vick, I mean, I'm not going to reduce it to saying that it's going to be easy, but I'm going to say who has more name recognition in the 757 that Virginia Beach area, Norfolk area, Newport News, who has more name recognition on the football field than Michael Vick? I mean, I would say as an athlete, the only other person would probably be Allen Iverson. Those are the two popular athletes in that area, from that area. And so having him as a head coach for HBCU is huge. And he can have that same Deion effect where there's going to be a guy, there's going to be a young quarterback who has a game similar to him in that Virginia area that may say, or in the Southeast period. You got to think the same way that Deion Sanders is a revered figure in Atlanta, so is Michael Vick. You still see number 7 jerseys floating around Atlanta like crazy. So, I mean, there's going to be an opportunity for somebody who has a game similar to Michael Vick to say, hey, man, come let me show you how I did it. Let me show you how I created this lane for you when everybody said my style of quarterbacking wouldn't work. Who can Michael Vick not get on the phone? Can he not get Lamar Jackson on the phone? So I think those are the type of perks that you get when you hire someone with that type of name recognition. Same thing for Deshaun Jackson. It's going to be hard. You're going to be hard pressed. Think about all the guys that he's influenced in California. Think about all of the fans that he had in Philadelphia, which is on that East Coast, that upper Northeast Coast. So, yeah, that name recognition is going to ring bells. His success that he had, even when he left the Eagles and he went to the Redskins. So being able to recruit that DMV area at Delaware State, where they get a lot of their players from Philly and Baltimore and DC. I think that name recognition is something that we don't talk about enough, that Coach Prime was able to parlay into helping him be a successful head coach.
And and as I'm thinking about it more, man, and you pointed out with Delaware State, Deshaun Jackson, those kids were probably watching him as a kid. Like when they were little, that was one of their favorite players, right? So him being in that same area, and just like you said about Vic, in that area, but besides him, AI, Randy Moss, I mean, the one that probably has like the biggest lore and the biggest mythical lifestyle out there is Ronald Curry. That dude was a beast in high school in Virginia. Like that, probably think he's the greatest to ever play there. But, Vic and him were way more successful. That's a good point to point out, that the name recognition piece and component really stands out, especially when you're in the area where your name has been just magnified the most. Sure, nationally we know Deshaun Jackson, nationally we know Michael Vick, but nationally we know Deion Sanders, but there's still local legends. Like Coach Prime was still a legend in Dallas from the Cowboys era, right? So coming back from Baltimore, Washington, and setting roots in Dallas, making that home, then coaching in Dallas area, bringing those high schools together. Yeah, that name recognition is critical. And it's just crazy that Coach Prime has been able to really be that influence, because I was reading an article yesterday that dropped. And they were talking about Prime taking the job at Jackson State. And this was what was intriguing about it. They asked some of his old teammates and old, players that he's played with and played against what they think he would do when they first started. And a lot of them was like, man, I don't know. Prime's known for being super flashy. He's always been that me guy. But at the same time, he's always been about perfection. He's always been about his craft more than even the flash. And then as he started success, they were like, I was a little wrong. I didn't think that it was going to be hard. I didn't think it was going to be too hard. But my question is how dedicated was he going to be? And, man, his dedication has shown way more than some people had anticipated. So you're right. Name recognition is critical, man. So when it comes to D-Jack and Vic, man, like, just being in those areas, I'm amazed that they decided to come back to spots where they're from. That, to me, is probably the most genius thing, because you're right. Name recognition in those areas, bruh. There's nothing better than going back home and where you're a hero and people be like, I want to go play for him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think and even like DJ being a West Coast guy, if you could see how he really endeared himself to that East Coast lifestyle, especially when he was in Philly, from the battle rapping to everything. I don't know if you remember that rap battle where he had his artists going against Meek Mill's artists some years ago.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. R.I.P. Snoop, man. But yeah, like him really endearing himself to that East Coast lifestyle was huge, and I think that's going to pay huge dividends for him as the new head coach of Delaware State.
Yeah, man, he's going to do some big stuff, man. So I'm pretty excited to see where this goes and how many more players decide to get influenced by this. Right, Eddie George, he understood the game as soon as he went to Tennessee State. He pointed out some of the, the things that made the struggle hard there. He pointed out that, there was those promises that were made to that HBCU that didn't come through. And so, he doesn't have the resources, but he understands it. I wish Ed Reed would have been able to catch that at Bethune-Cookman, but not everybody's built for that social aspect of how the game works there, right? Certain things that have to be done. Nothing's perfect. Just got to work through it, man. So this is our guy, Dukes the Scoop. Dukes, man, thank you for pulling up and hanging out with us. Once again, man, tell the people where they can find you. All your content everywhere, but where can they find you, Dukes the Scoops?
Man, so first of all, always, man, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Dukes the Scoop, DUKESTHESCOOP. But in the meantime, when I'm not on DNVR with the DNVR Scoop, when I'm not on the pregame network with You Tell Me with Uncle Neely, and also the pregame breakdown that you'll probably should be one dropping today. And when I'm not on the CU Flex with Well Off Media with my man Bucky, aka Deion Sanders Jr., go to at Dukes the Scoop on YouTube, my own channel, at youtube.com/ at Dukes the Scoop. Go check me out, man. I go live probably 2 or 3 times a week. I just started it. We got monetized in 2 weeks, 4,000 watch hours and 4 shows, which is damn near unheard of for a brand new channel. So I just want to thank everybody for supporting. I want to thank God first and foremost for making it happen. And now I'm just looking to grow, man. Maybe one day, I could be like my man, Unfair. Maybe one day I can be, maybe it can be fair to me, man.
Yeah, we got you, man. We gonna get you there, my boy. And that's our whole goal now. We're gonna get Dukes up there in the big numbers. So check them out. Appreciate you pulling up here to the prime time for college football, dog.
Yeah, for sure, man.